Hello, hello. Good
Hello.
morning, good afternoon, good night. Hello, Ellie.
Thank you for having me. Let's start like
You are with
that.
Ellie Orion, and I'm very excited to be with you. I know you have a lot of information. Actually, I'm
Yeah,
extremely
yes.
excited. And hello, everybody. First of all, where you are from? Where do you live?
So I
If
was
you want to present
born.
yourself, go
I
ahead.
was born
It's
and
all yours.
raised. I was born and raised in Croatia, in a city called Split. It's near the sea, and I was so lucky that I was basically raised by very open-minded parents, where I had possibility to just learn about the world and all different op- options that we have. So I wasn't pushed in any sort of religion, and I was very, I just had different possibilities to develop in the way that I wanted. And of course, like a child, I did not know what I want. So I was basically just following the guidance of my father, who is very spiritual and who raised me very spiritually, who basically, as an engineer, was showing me how to create spaces. And I was very inspired by his profession, which, of course, also influenced me to basically go after that career to become an architect, because I truly admired and I thought that I wanted to build a new world, which of course was true, but I thought I'm going to do it very conventionally. So here I was, just a little girl. I was basically I was given different spiritual books by my father. My mother is very in tune with nature, and she's very, maybe so, how to say, like, just connected with the world in the best ways. So she was, in a way, guiding me to be connected and grounded. And my father was giving me this fundament to achieve different spiritual knowledge, which, of course, in the beginning I refused, like everyone does. So yeah, that was my how I started. I was very open-minded. I read lots of books, and basically my father taught me how to meditate when I was around 9, which was very important for me, because then I discovered that this inner world is this magical possibilities are real. But as everyone, I was basically just aspiring to become someone in this world and become a part of the system. So from Croatia, I moved to Austria. I learned a new language. I finished the university. I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve as an earthling. And then I found myself in massive depression, because I understood something is missing in my life. How can it be that I achieve everything that I've worked my whole life for, and that isn't what makes me happy?
But
So
right now you are an architect. You graduate as an architect, right?
yes, yeah, I
Okay.
graduated, but it's not something that I do. So I'm
Okay.
not in the field anymore. Yeah. So I was in my mid 20s, basically starting from age of 20. I started to see the other worlds, the other dimensions. I would see entities, I would see energies. And I was basically aware that I'm not like all other girls that I know or other people that I know. And that was just something that I constantly shared with my father, who was and still is very important for my spiritual evolution. Just this understanding that I'm very sensitive and in perception of the world beyond what we see. So starting from age 20, I had some different encounters, and I started to truly see different entities and everything else, which of course made me afraid when I was just trying to do something different. But after I was done with my school and I did whatever I thought I had to do to become happy and successful, I basically entered one of the most interesting meditations of my life, where I basically, for the first time, understood and saw myself and experienced myself as a consciousness. And in that field, where I basically was not afraid to lose anything. So I detached myself from my name, from my gender, from my life. I was just basically for the first time experiencing myself as this consciousness field. And in that meditation, I felt for the first time 12 beings who basically came to me in that meditation and started the communication, which of course in the first encounter, when someone cannot tell the depth, the height, do these beings want to harm me, what kind of interaction is this, it's of course gave me a bit of fear and I did not understand. But of course I told my father. So something happened to me. I somehow got in contact with different 12 beings, and now they're known as my 12 Orion guides. So basically they introduce themselves as 12, the consciousness from Orion. And that is how my journey started, discovering my past lives in Orion constellation, remembering what I did back then, remembering why I came to planet Earth. Also, I helped my father to remember our co-creation in Orion, what we had to do together. So it was just this a new chapter of my life, understanding that I truly have a mission to build a new world and to support everyone who feels the same in their hearts. But it wasn't buildings, it was basically building the new energy and helping the new consciousness and the new children which are arriving to just come to planet Earth where everything is possible, because we have understanding that it is that way. So I basically focused myself when that started to happen. When I basically got into contact with Orions, I asked many questions. I discovered lots of different things. They taught me how to perceive energy, how to see myself, how to detach myself from my ego, from my name. That is why for my work, I also use the name Ellie Orion, because I had to become someone else. I had to, in a way, leave everything behind and become this new person who is not connected with what I was before, because that person served me so well to discover this new chapter of my life. I see a question. How did you find out the kind of energy of the beings you contacted first? So what was very interesting is when I meditated, when I started communicating with them, the weirdest sensation for me was that I could not pinpoint if they're female or masculine. It was this very different perception of energy, because on planet Earth, when we perceive each other, we can say this is a feminine person or a masculine person, no matter what the gender. But that was something that I had to learn, that all type of perceptions, like everything what I know in my physical reality, did not serve me to understand what am I dealing with. So I had to basically learn everything. So how did I find out? I basically tried to send them to light. I was very afraid and I was like, please don't harm me, and I just want to go. So the first encounter, they showed me, I was laying in meditation on my bed, and they showed me that at the same time I was up and down, in a way acknowledging that no one is above and no one is under, we're equal. And that sort of acknowledgement, that sort of equal understanding that we're just streams of consciousness connecting, definitely gave me this understanding that there is nothing to be afraid of. And then I started to ask the real questions, and they did start to teach me about discipline, which is something that I took as one of my missions, because I understand there are so many parents, there are so many people who are just learning about spirituality, but they are, how I call them, vibrationally lazy. They do not want to do the work. They do not want to understand their children, because they don't see the timelines. They don't see the broader perspective. So one of my missions is just to educate people and prepare the new earth for everyone else who is coming, and we who are still now in this massive change, that we basically have this discipline to support each other and educate each other based on our different, so very different experiences. So I started my journey wanting to become an architect, and now when someone asks me what do you do for work, I cannot say that I am communicating with aliens because that sounds ridiculous. So yeah, that is just one of the ways how life basically always guides us where we have to end up to inspire this world. And that's also something that I discovered. So basically I was constantly learning about quantum physics, learning about vibrational fields, about consciousness, about law of attraction, because I understood if I'm so unhappy and there are people who are happy, what do they know that I don't? So I knew there must be a secret. But for me, that secret was my connection to extraterrestrial beings, which now provide me information to understand not even the physical reality, but to understand myself and other people as uh, uh, higher frequencies who did decide to come here to Earth and make a change.
Wow. And how about this learning process, Ellie? Can you tell us more about?
So that is a very interesting question. Thank you for asking, Cecilia. It's very important question because it is important to know for everyone else who wants to uh, get in contact or communicate with higher frequencies. It is for us in physical reality. We can understand only so much how our mind allows us. That means that they cannot give me sort of information or knowledge if I don't have the fundament of understanding that, which is the reason why they told me you have to constantly meditate. If you do not meditate every day, if you do not connect, if you do not make a priority to be this higher vibration, how can you even talk to us? It's impossible because, of course, they cannot go down in consciousness or down in vibration. I only have to go up to be able to achieve the communication. And because our conversations were very intense, and for me very interesting, that is where I developed this discipline to meditate few hours a day for years. And I was doing it in the privacy of my own home. Nobody knew for my communication. Nobody knew that I basically have friends in different constellations, only my father. And in that time, I was still working in architectural offices. In the end, I worked as interior designer. And then I just felt, because of course they give me guidance constantly. 2019, they said, this is it. Now quit your job, leave the key, and when you walk out of this building, say goodbye to your life with gratitude and with love. And I did do that. And I just told my father, so I got this inspiration to quit. I just know something is coming. I know I'm gonna work with spirituality in some way. I didn't know how. I didn't even care how. I just felt I am free, and I felt this inner happiness. And few months after, I was already working with people. I started to talk publicly about my connection to 12 Orions, to different galactic races, uh, also spread awareness how important it is to teach children about meditation and inner journeys. And then a pandemic hit, and I got myself this new galactic job, which was basically just me fulfilling my starting steps of this, when I feel of this period on earth when it was the most necessary to basically guide others. I was there at the right moment. So it's just a proof that it's very important to be disciplined and have trust in the process. And no matter where you find yourself in life, if you had, I always call them earthling goals, do achieve them, because it's all part of the plan. Um, okay, so there is some question that I don't understand because it's on Spanish.
Okay, maybe Cecilia, you can put it in English. And Milwan, I wanted to ask you, your dad is from Orion, right? But he forgot, kind of.
Yes, so
And who
my
helped
father,
him?
exactly. So that is very interesting. My father was Orion. He was there on the same planet as I did. But I never met him. When I was a child in Orion, I never met him because he was galactic traveler and he was constantly somewhere. So basically he had back then when we shared this experience, he had just this big urge to fight for the light and prepare everything for what is to come. And that is how basically when I was growing up, I remembered also all the details in a galactic school, in education. What is the
That was
difference
my
between
next
the schools?
question. So we
Yes,
will
yes,
go with that.
I remembered everything. So basically, they had to inspire me to say, listen, so this galactic traveler, he's perfect to be your father. And they had to basically prove it to me. So I saw how courageous he is. I saw he fights for the light. I saw he's such a good ambassador. So I just thought, okay, I agree. So that is my understanding, that we all definitely do agree in which families do we come and why do we come, especially if families are most families on earth, we have some sort of disagreements. That is also planned, because sometimes we need contrast and sometimes we do have soul plans to co-create contrasts, because that is what makes us grow. So my father started to remember when I told him all the stories, when I told him everything what's going on. He was the 13 Orion, but Orions knew about the consciousness and the energy of the number 12 on planet Earth, so decided to send him first to not contact Earth as 13, because we see that and perceive it a bit differently. So they decided to do it this way, that my father comes first, that he raised me, and that then I present them to Earth as consciousness of name 12. Could you explain to us purpose of Orion beings communicating with you? So what is the mission? Um, so many different galactic beings are understanding evolution. Evolution of planet Earth is not only influencing us here right now, it is also influencing everyone in the universe, outside of the universe, is because we are all one. So the mission is to spread the knowledge about how is it possible that someone remembers the soul journeys before coming here. The mission is to basically remember people that we all do have this strength, and we all do have this very, very important characteristics which can provide something for this planet Earth. Because what I learned is everyone has a sort of some people call it talent, but I don't call it talent. I call it a spiritual sensitivity. We are all sensitive in a specific matter, in a specific way. So for example, it's just the evolution of planet Earth, which is also so fundamental to understand. When first people started to live on planet Earth, they did not have the sense of touch or smell, or they could not hear the way that we did, but they perceived the energies and they saw the entities, and they basically perceived the whole stream of consciousness, that they are absolutely different. And the whole goal of our evolution as human beings was to become physical beings, because that was something so magnificent, and we could not even imagine how it is to become so physical that we do believe that this is the only thing that there is. So when we achieved this, and we did grow out of this understanding that we are only matter, we were bones and flesh, now we are achieving this knowledge, or this new period which was so present in Atlantis and Lemuria, that we all strive to see more, and we all strive to see energies and basically soul journeys and everything, which helps us not only for our life now, but also for the future. So I see the question, there are also negative beings in Orion. I can put that question back. Are there negative people on planet Earth? Yes. negative beings are all over the universe. So why Orion is so famous for negativity is because so many used Orion as their base, because in Orion there is this big um, time portal. Galactic beings do not know time the way we do. So one being who is basically who understood time, who lives time, are beings in the sixth dimension. My guides are in sixth dimension. That means that at the same time, they can be at different locations, in different universes. That means that they basically are living time. And that is why different lower frequencies occupied Orion. But something that is very important, especially because so many people, when they hear Orion, they're like, oh, negativity, she must be evil. So my Orion guides told me, also be their guide, you know, to never talk bad about any being, because didn't we all deserve evolution of the soul? Didn't we all deserve to become better and lighter? And I did encounter also negative beings, like beings that are lower on the consciousness scale, but they all want to learn, and that is something that's so beautiful, and something that is so important to have this understanding that what there is no point in judgment. Someone who is from our perception is bad is also co-creating the higher version of ourselves. Okay, so let's go to the topic of Galactic School. That's going to be interesting. We want to do several of them on Earth. It's called Multi-U 3000, 4000, 5000 for peace. So it was for me when I entered meditations where I started to remember how I was educated in Orion. It was beautiful because it was so intense. How we started, basically, it is important to know who were the teachers in the schools. Orion system is, of course, different than on Earth, and teachers were basically called Orion mothers because they, in a way, raised the children in the schools. Different galactic systems, of course, have the role of a mother, and they utilize the role of a mother in a different way. For us, mother is responsible, for example, for one child or her children, usually. In galactic system of Orion, a mother is basically a teacher. The important thing to know is that a role of a mother can also be taken over by someone who is masculine in gender or neutral in gender, because mother has nothing to do with birth. It's like something that I understood, and my Orion mother, she's one of my 12 guides, told me, you did not come from me, but you're mine. So there was this understanding what actually is the mother. So every classroom, there were about 20 or 30 children in each classroom, and one Orion mother was dedicated to that classroom. One of the first things that I understood, it was how easy it was to talk about future timelines, because in the school we didn't really learn something that is so broad like we do on Earth. So 30 kids are learning about one field or one topic. Basically, we were all learning from each other, talking about the future timelines and future soul missions of each of us, because then we understood what is my role in co-creating with your life or with your mission on Earth. And basically, each classroom was co-created or organized by children who are going to, in some sort of way, co-create on Earth or co-create in another timelines. And that is why it was so important to basically have understanding, have the discipline, have this a soul connection, because we all, for example, when we meet someone on planet Earth, we say, oh, I feel some sort of connection. But where did it all start? It had to start somewhere. It started in just this understanding of the system, of the support system. Also, my one of my best friend who I've met in on Earth, she was sitting next to me on Orion, and when I just discovered that information, it was just it blew my mind. So
Mm.
what we basically focused on, the first step of education in Orion classrooms is how to connect with the heart. So the first, we all always had some sort of vibrational exercises. And the first exercises that I remember, we were all standing around in a circle and we were just feeling the heart of the person one by one. And we were connecting in this very intense vibrational field until we do feel that we are one. So there are different vibrational tactics how Orion Mother or how higher frequency guides are connecting to children. And that is, for example, in the system, we were all connected with the crown chakra. So basically, we connect to each other with the heart, but as a system, we were connected with the crown chakra. So that means that even now, when I'm on planet Earth, when I'm meditating, I always basically use my crown chakra as a phone. And I just feel that the stream of energy is going up, and I'm basically receptive of the information and the energies. You
Wow.
might, yes, it was
We will do more
awesome.
program. Don't worry, Elise. We have so
Yes,
much to share and to tell people because many children and young people, this is what they go through right now, and they have to know, and parents have to know too, right?
yes. Um, I see the question. What is to come? I mentioned what is to come. When I was a child in Orion, they basically told me that there is going to be a contrast. That is why it's so important. And I'm one of rare people on planet Earth who talks about Orion, which is for me mind blowing because everyone is in a way afraid. So for me, it was very hard to come public and say and talk about Orions because everyone is so judgmental. But it also made people very, very aware that there are some stories on planet Earth which are just retold, but actually nobody knows the truth behind, which is so much about our system is just storytelling, not the facts. And now we find ourselves in this understanding that, of course, there is contrast. In galactic understanding of contrast, it was galactic wars, it was all different contrast or lack of water or lack of freedom, the same thing that we are experiencing right now. But right now, galactic wars are within us, they're inside of us, because that is what everyone who is just trying to understand this new Earth, new system, what we are all together trying to build, they all experience it is pain. It's something is wrong. I have to understand why am I in constant why am I trying to seek something that is, in a way, higher than me, better than me, and I'm not that. So we are basically just trying to influence people all together, I feel, in different ways, to just start understanding that we have to, as a collective, we have to start teaching parents and children as well that there is something more, that what we have been taught in schools is not going to help us to go somewhere where we weren't before, because our educational system is based on storytelling. It's based on different outlines, which, as we all did see, does not adapt to everyone. In one classroom of, for example, 30 students, not all of them are going to be interested in the same thing. So it is unfair to basically require from us all to be the same when we're not. So that is something that I'm very, very privileged to be in contact with you, because it's so beautiful to see that our planet truly is going somewhere different, and that there are people who are trying to understand how to achieve that. Because what I understood when I started to wake up and when I started to see the world in different eyes, I understood I can do so much with this life for other generations. And I see my life as this beautiful tool to basically set the ground in the right direction. What it's very hard to do alone, but that is why as a collective, we are doing it together.
Okay, I don't. You are so fast that I don't have time to type. So I will tell the question orally. Or Cecilia, you can go on typing. I was trying to type. I understand there is some Galactic University in Orion, Sirius,
Yes.
Ganymedes, Venus, and another place directly connect to Earth right now. Have you been to this
Yes.
university?
So I basically visited a galactic university, or they call it like sort of galactic hospitals in Sirius B. I also had some experience and lifetimes in Sirius B, and I am at the moment connected with 4 galactic beings in Sirius B who are basically communicating with me daily and showing me lots of things what are going on right now in Sirius B. The first thing that actually blew my mind about Syrian education is they have these very beautiful, very, very tall towers. And they have many, many teachers and many doctors and surgeons who are not even present because they just send their essence to these universities and they can teach and they can perform surgeries or vibration or balance vibrational disbalance by just allowing their essence to be present. Also, what you might find very interesting is that, for example, in hospitals in Sirius B, the nurse is the upper role. The surgeon is the downer role. Why? Because the nurses are those who actually keep you alive constantly. The surgeon comes and you never see him again, but the nurse is there and she's taking care of you and she's constantly providing you this like just support system. So when I visited the lecture halls and the hospital in Sirius B, I see actually nurses who come in and they just spread their energy around the space, and then everyone is basically putting themselves back in the balance. I also went and got myself few treatments in the Sirius hospitals, which was an interesting experience because they cleanse your third eye or they basically tune your frequencies, and it is very, very different experience, just their appreciation for knowledge, which is something that we are kind of at some point we started to lose interest to write books, to read books. And that is something that from especially from Syrians, they're so um, curious that we have so much knowledge on planet Earth. And they told me there are people on planet Earth who dedicated their whole life to write books, and you don't read those books. Why? They don't understand that someone is so like dedicated to provide the knowledge and we just don't do it. So I basically have my best friend from Sirius B. His name is Tin. He did show me what kind of beautiful things we don't understand about life and Syrians do. For example, one opportunity, we went to swim together in Sirius, and under the sea, I've seen this magnificent white flower. It was like the head of the flower was massive. And I was so mesmerized. I said, "Oh my God, do you also pick flowers in Sirius?" And he was shocked. He's like, "Pick flowers? On Earth, you pick flowers?" I was like, yes, we do it. And I was ashamed because he said, "That is life. Why would we pick that?" So I was standing in Sirius in front of this white uh, uh, flower, and the flower just leaned its head and kissed me and leaned back. And then my friend Tim told me, life standing in front of life. And I just felt this deep appreciation. And of course, when one comes back from meditations like that, I see everything differently. And I tell my friends, do not, please do not give me any more flowers. I do not want that, because the consciousness and the level of consciousness and appreciation for life is something that we are still learning here on Earth.
Beautiful, beautiful. For I think for this first interview, well, it's not interview. It's just I don't know how to say sharing. It's not a lecture.
Yes.
I would say sharing and raising consciousness at the same time, because beyond words there is another thing happening. Obviously, what will be your message, at least for the parents for now, as we are a school, we are pedagogy 3,000, 4,000, 5,000,
Um,
and then I promise we will do a series and more. But for
my
now, what would
message.
you suggest as an emergency? Please, dad and teachers, do this and that, or don't do this and that.
Yes, yes. So, my message for all parents and for those who are yet to become parents is, you have to become aware that there is possibility that the child who chose you to be its mother might be wiser than you, might know lots more than you could ever do. You have to remember that most of you parents, I'm not a parent, but I worked with many who are, sometimes you do receive children as teachers. And sometimes you do learn so much about life that you have this illusion that you created life that are your children, but actually they are giving you life that you never understood before they arrived. And the children that are coming right now are just such higher consciousness, and they're so pure and they're so sensitive, and the system before is not allowing us to welcome those children how they understand it might happen. Because of course right now, with everything what's going on, we are preparing the most warm welcome on this beautiful planet for everyone who observes us and can't wait to come down. So for every parent, I just suggest, if you think that you will have to in a way guide your children, or you're afraid for the future of your children, just understand that everything is pre-planned, and you have been chosen to like feel the strength and feel the love and feel the this unconditional understanding. And once when we start to truly see this possibility to understand the souls which are coming to be our teachers, we're not going to see them as children, but as higher consciousness who are here to help us co-create and here to basically teach us something that we have forgotten.
Thank you. I wanted to know if Cecilia, Marta, Sonia, if you want to tell something or you want to be with us, not behind the screen, and maybe your last. Maybe Cecilia, do you want to be with us? What is your sound? Okay, she said this. Your microphone is on.
Okay. Like, thank you very much, Elia. It was like listening to your words, but also feeling them with my heart. And many of your messages have a special frequency. I really love that. I was really moved with the nurse you mentioned in Series B, the nurse
Mm-hmm.
relationship and the surgeon. And I don't know why, because I am, but that was one of the moving moments in life, standing in front of life with flowers and beings, and seeing children and all of us, right, as consciousness, learning, sharing together. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm like kind of digesting the information coming from,
Yeah.
but then from a multi-layer, it's like frequencies. It's wonderful. It's awesome. But I have more questions, but perhaps it should be like to open a new session if you want, or
Yeah,
I can,
yeah.
because it's amazing. So thanks a million for this time together, and your love and presence, and of course, thank you, Naomi, too. Thanks a million.
Thank you for lovely words.
So thank you, Cecilia, Marta, Sonia, and everybody watching us. As usual, pitch your comments and blah blah blah. You know all that. Subscribe and so on. Eli, muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you for having me.
we see you very soon. You take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.